Alicia Keys grew up in the pressure cooker of Hell's Kitchen, raised by a single mother in a cramped Manhattan apartment. Her childhood wasn't sheltered, it was chaotic, uncertain, and full of instability. Yet, in the middle of that turbulence, she found a refuge in music. At 7, her mother insisted she begin piano lessons, believing it would give her focus and purpose. Alicia didn't just learn, she excelled. Her teachers were stunned by her natural ability, and by age 12, she was composing original songs that blended classical technique with soul and R&B. Music became her sanctuary, a place where she could control the narrative and escape the unpredictability of her home life. By the time she graduated early from the performing arts school at 16, she was already on a path towards stardom, but the journey ahead would test her in ways she never imagined. The Columbia years, dream turned nightmare. At 15, Alicia signed with Columbia Records, believing she'd stepped into her dream. Instead, she entered a world where her identity was negotiable. Executives tried to reshape her into a generic pop star, hair blown out, weight lost, image sanitized. They dismissed her songwriting and pressured her to record material that didn't reflect her voice or experiences. It wasn't just creative suppression, it was a complete erasure of what made her special. She felt stifled, humiliated, and powerless, driving to the studio with dread instead of excitement. The label treated her like a product rather than an artist, and the conflict grew into a battle over her soul. When she refused to conform, she was dropped in 1998, a move that could have ended her career. Instead, it freed her from a prison she never should have entered in the first place, the turning point. Clive Davis and J Records. After being dropped, Alicia didn't vanish. She built relationships with people who recognized her talent, including Clive Davis, who had left Arista Records and founded J Records. Davis saw what Columbia didn't, a musician who could blend classical training with soulful storytelling. He offered her something rare, creative control. For the first time, Alicia could write, produce, and present herself without compromise. That freedom wasn't just artistic, it was personal. It allowed her to process the pain of her past and channel it into her work. Her story was no longer about being molded into someone else's image. It was about reclaiming her voice and using it to speak truth. This shift marked the beginning of a career that would redefine contemporary R&B and prove that authenticity could triumph over manufactured perfection. Songs in a Minor, The World's Awakening. In 2001, Alicia released Songs in a Minor, and the music industry changed overnight. She didn't arrive as a polished pop star. She arrived as a pianist, a composer, and a storyteller. The album's sound was unlike anything else at the time. Classical piano blended with jazz, soul, and modern R&B, all delivered with raw emotional honesty. The lead single, Fallen, captured listeners immediately. Its simple melody and heartfelt lyrics spoke to the complexity of love, how you can know something is wrong and still be unable to let go. The visual image of her playing piano with cornrows became iconic, proving that she didn't need to conform to the industry's beauty standards to be successful. Songs in a Minor debuted at #1 and sold millions, but its real victory was cultural. It proved that talent and authenticity could outshine the manufactured pop machine. Grammy triumph. Validation through art. The 44th Grammy Awards in 2002 became the moment of undeniable vindication. Alicia walked onto the stage and collected 5 awards, including Best New Artist and Song of the Year for Fallen. At 21, she wasn't just winning, she was rewriting the rules. The recognition wasn't merely about sales or popularity, it was about artistry. Critics praised her sophisticated blend of classical technique and contemporary emotion. Her success wasn't a fluke. It was proof that audiences craved depth, not just hooks. For the first time, the industry had to accept that a young black woman could be both technically brilliant and deeply soulful without being forced into a narrow mold. Her victory became a statement. Talent shouldn't be shaped to fit a market. The market should evolve to meet talent. The Diary of Alicia Keys. Growth, Pain, and Mastery. Alicia's follow-up album, The Diary of Alicia Keys, arrived in 2003 and confirmed her staying power. It wasn't a sophomore slump, it was a statement. Songs like You Don't Know My Name showcased her growth as a songwriter, with narrative storytelling that felt cinematic and intimate. If I Ain't Got You became a timeless anthem of love and emotional honesty. The album debuted at #1 and sold millions. proving she was not a one-hit wonder, but a force. By her early 20s, she had already sold tens of millions of records and won multiple Grammys. But her success was more than commercial, it was cultural. She brought musicianship back to mainstream R&B, proving that live instrumentation and lyrical depth still mattered. She set a new standard for female artists. You could be talented, vulnerable, and unapologetically yourself. The Swizz Beatz controversy, love, betrayal, and public judgment. In 2008, Alicia's personal life became a public scandal. Rumors emerged that she was involved with producer Swizz Beatz, while he was still legally married to Mashonda Tifrere. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Mashonda publicly accused Alicia of being a homewrecker, and social media erupted with hate. Fans who once praised Alicia's messages of empowerment now accused her of hypocrisy. The controversy was complicated by conflicting timelines and public denial, but the damage was done. Alicia chose silence at first, which many interpreted as guilt, but her silence also reflected a refusal to participate in the spectacle. Eventually, Swizz and Mashonda divorced, and Alicia and Swizz married in 2010, with their first son born that same year. The scandal didn't disappear, it followed her, shaping how the public perceived her for years. Reconciliation and family. A new kind of love. What followed the scandal was unexpected. Reconciliation. Alicia, Swizz, and Mashonda eventually worked toward co-parenting and forgiveness. They even collaborated on a book, Blend. The secret to co-parenting and creating a balanced family, sharing how they navigated anger, betrayal, and healing. Their blended family became a model of modern co-parenting, imperfect, messy, but committed to putting children first. The relationship between the three adults wasn't romantic, but it was real, and it required work. This was not the perfect celebrity family image. It was a demonstration of accountability, healing, and growth. It showed that even when a relationship begins in pain, it can still evolve into something constructive if the people involved choose maturity over bitterness. The no makeup movement. Empowerment or privilege? In 2016, Alicia announced she would no longer wear makeup in public. She framed it as a radical act of self-acceptance, a rejection of the beauty industry's demands. Her decision sparked a movement, with fans posting no makeup photos in solidarity. But the backlash was just as fierce. Critics argued she was privileged, still having professional skincare, lighting, styling, and financial freedom. Some said her choice was performative, not a true rejection of beauty standards. Yet Alicia defended her decision, saying it was personal and not meant to judge other women. The controversy exposed a harsh truth. Female celebrities are trapped in a double bind. If they wear makeup, they're accused of hiding their true selves. If they don't, they're accused of pretending to be natural. The debate wasn't about Alicia, it was about society's impossible standards for women. Activism and the cost of fame, the Saudi Arabia debate. Alicia's activism has been a major part of her public identity. She co-founded Keep a Child Alive in 2003. Supporting families affected by HIV and AIDS in Africa and India, she has spoken on racial justice and women's rights, positioning herself as a conscientious artist. Yet her activism has also been scrutinized. In 2024, she hosted the Women to Women Summit in Saudi Arabia, sparking criticism due to the country's record on women's rights and human rights violations. Critics argued her participation legitimized the regime and amounted to reputation laundering. Alicia defended her choice, saying engagement creates change and that Saudi women deserve role models. But the debate highlighted a dilemma. Can a celebrity bring attention to injustice by participating, or does participation itself signal complicity? The answer remains contested, and the controversy underscores the complexity of activism in a global spotlight. Conclusion: a legacy of talent, truth, and survival. As of 2025, Alicia Keys remains one of the most influential artists in contemporary music. Her career has been defined by brilliance and controversy, triumph and struggle. She helped bring musicianship back to mainstream R&B, proving that talent and authenticity could conquer a market obsessed with image. She built a legacy that inspires artists to demand creative control and to refuse compromise. Yet her story also reveals the cost of fame, the way the public can turn a hero into a villain overnight, how personal pain becomes entertainment, and how the same public that celebrates you can also destroy you. Alicia's life is a reminder that behind the music and awards is a human being fighting for dignity, love, and truth. Her legacy is not only her songs, it is her survival.